This is part 2 of my Terrigen 2 tutorials. In this section we will be concentrating mainly on the terrain generation and finding a nice spot to set up a scene. Whenever I'm rendering, I'm probably just gonna cut off so you guys don't have to watch that. Basically, when you first start, you're gonna have this default height field shader, which will have its generator right under it. And I mean, if you just hit generate now and wait for it to generate, you get the default terrain, and you can just, you know, zoom in, try to find a spot, that kind of thing, for whatever you're looking for. A couple of the key features over here of what you need to know. Feature scale, that basically makes it increase everything. Kind of, it makes it get taller, as you can kind of see there, increased by a slight bit. Steepness, obviously it makes it steeper, and then roughness will make it more rough, or less rough in this case of what we're going to make. So it's less rough and it's not very steep right now. The seed, you can hit random seed and regenerate it, and it will be a slightly different terrain. It just changes what it looks like, basically. So if it's something you don't like, you can always hit random seed, get a new terrain, and you're good to go. Okay, so for this tutorial I'm going to create a landscape that's basically a couple hills, and then it looks on to like some mountains in the background, just so we can get some basics of pretty much anything and everything done. You can also change the sizes of the height fields here. Like, it's currently at 10,000 by 10,000 meters, and the terrain it's generating is 1,000 by 1,000. So I mean, you can really make it as big as you want, or, well, to certain limits. I mean, it sometimes has issues, but yeah. Now I'm just gonna find a quick spot. It'll probably cut out here while I find it. Might take a minute. Okay, so I found my little hills that I'm going to be centered on, basically, and in the background will become my mountains over around here. So what you want to do is, once you find it, you want to hit this button right down here. Just copy this view to the current render camera. That'll make it so when we render, it's actually rendering here. Don't forget to change it whenever you find, you know, your perfect spot. That's basically all you need to know about that in general. I mean, you can really make whatever you want. If you were concentrating on mountains, you can stay with the mountains, that kind of thing. Now, what we're also going to do is we're going to add a power fractal here, but we don't want it here. We want it to move it upwards in the order of things, so that it's in the background there. And so if you look, it's now creating its own power fractal way back here. So I want it to be purlin ridges, which gives you kind of a rigid look versus like kind of mountainy. And then I can go over here to scale and make it as big as I want to a degree. And now I'm just going to try to find some mountains that I like by changing the feature scale and the lead-in smallest scale and the amount of displacement that's going on. Okay, so I got a good mountain here. It's got a cool little peak there. And we got our hills right along here. And the mountain's actually kind of real close. Might have to 1 kilometer up, 200 meters. It's not really the most. So I have my mountain here. It's not really the most accurate sized compared to where we are and everything. I mean, it's actually really close to where we actually are, and it's pretty comparative in height. Actually, we can do this. We can adjust vertical here, and we're going to, instead of add height, we're going to actually subtract it until we are not quite down that far. Let's try like 700, and get back to my little area, probably a little higher. Just there we go. Now it's a bit more accurate. Not the best, but a bit better. Okay. And that's basically how you can find some of the terrain. You can also just, if you wanted, you could do without the height field shader and just do everything solely based off like a fractal terrain, or you could do it with just the height field shader if you're doing some mountains. I don't suggest you use the Alpine fractal here with the large amount of terrain, especially if you have a slow computer. That thing, it has its own warning there for a reason. It does get pretty slow at generating terrain for you. So it's really best to try to use the other fractals when you can. Anyways, that about sums up this section on finding your terrain and the camera angle you want. I got mine right here. And next we'll be moving on to the shaders to get a basic idea of what it's going to look like.